the OG, modernized and revitalized, the Hoka Speedgoat 7. Could this one be the Goldilocks version you've been waiting for? Huge news here, straight out the door in the alleyway on the way to the trailhead. We have an appropriate height on the tongue here. This has actually been a problematic area for Hoka for some reason, so let's get that out of the way right here. They might have actually overcompensated with this one. Plenty of height above the lace knot, even with lace locking, but it also does extend quite a bit around the sides below the upper eyelets there. So lots of tongue coverage here with the new Speedgoat 7 from Hoka. That was just a little sidebar there. There are actually two key features that bring the Goldilocks factor to the Speedgoat 7. Let's dive right in here. Supercritical EVA makes its first appearance in the Speedgoat line. I measure 37 mil at the heel with a 5 mil spec drop, giving 37-32 total stack. That's just a touch below their reported weight, but I was kind of measuring around 37-38-ish. Ended up kind of closer to 37 with my manual measurement there. 10.2 ounces, 288 grams in my US 10 here. That is a very solid and competitive weight. Definitely getting the feeling on this first few miles of this run that it is going to be an all-terrain, any distance and duration type of training shoe, and certainly a race day option for many runners. It's pretty wild to think about how far trail running shoes have come at 37-32 here. This is more like mid-range? No, maybe not mid-range. It's a high stack shoe, but not super high. Certainly not max in today's marketplace for trail running shoes. Just to set the stage for you, this is going to be a 35-mile weekend in the Speedgoat 7 here. I'm out for 10 today, fresh out of the box. And I've got my long run scheduled for tomorrow. Gonna try and knock out another 25 in this same shoe here. That was the tentative plan when I left the house today. Of course, I was gonna feel it out at the end of the 10 miles of today's run, but I could already tell, probably 3 miles in at the moment, definitely gonna be out here in these Speedgoat 7s again tomorrow. Feeling really great so far. Don't feel any hint of irritation, discomfort, miscomfort of feel underfoot at all anywhere. So barring some type of epic collapse here today, you will be seeing 35 miles of on the run test footage here today. Supercritical EVA here definitely brings something different to the table compared to the compression molded EVA of prior Speedgoats. I don't think the Supercritical Midsole foam brings a drastic difference in weight here, and maybe a touch lighter than the previous compression molded EVA. It's really about the difference in feel underfoot, and that's probably the number one, or let's say they're 1 and 1A. But difference in feel here with the Supercritical EVA. It is not as soft cushy as previous Speedgoats. Speedgoat 6, notwithstanding, I have not had my feet in that model. Heard that it was very firm. That was one model that I kind of missed out on. But previous Speedgoats, pretty much all of them, have had that cushy feel underfoot, softness of feel, but not necessarily as reactive, especially now that more modern super foams have been coming out in the market. So the OG cushioned trail model here, the Speedgoat line, has in fact caught up to the rest of the competition that has seemingly passed it by, I would say. On the run out here today, I clearly feel that responsive softness, not just that sink in cushy softness of previous prior to V6 Speedgoats. I have the Una Speedgoat 2 re-release back at home. Speedgoat 2, definitely, that was perhaps the pinnacle of the softness of cushion underfoot, also with the ortholite insole in that model, as well as others. But big difference running in this shoe compared to that one. At the end of this long run, gonna line up a few Hoka models that I have, do a big roundup, quick comparison after tomorrow's run. I am absolutely loving the feel underfoot here. That midsole foam feels so stable, so responsive. Doesn't have soft wobble, nor does it have kind of any bounce wobble. It's kind of hitting in the middle between a shoe being, again, soft and unstable and bouncy, reactive and unstable. It's kind of right in the sweet spot there. Second Goldilocks aspect here, the fit of the Speedgoat 7. I have never gotten along with any Speedgoat models. Maybe version 4, I think that was super wide, but I had version 5, the last version. I had a wide version even. I could not make the toe box work for me. I tried all kinds of variation of box lacing, keeping this loose. I could not get a good fit without squeezing my foot too much and having my foot go numb. That is the Speedgoat 5. 7 here, I detect a noticeable difference in the toe box here. The width here and the shape of this toe box, it's an absolute perfect fit for me. I love it. I think this is going to be way more accommodating to most runners out on the market, because you could also, you could see I don't really have this too tight at all. If you have a narrower foot than me or just like it a little tighter, there's plenty of room for a little bit of squeeze here, and in fact there is good vertical height, maybe a little low right at the tip, but actually not really. There is good vertical space in this toe box. I find this absolutely just a hit toe box for me. I'm out on the run here. I feel totally secure on the run. Again, space at the base of the forefoot, a key for me. This lower row here is just really at that base of the forefoot there, and that lets me, it's not too low, the throat is wide. In previous versions it might have been a little bit narrower, and that makes you want to like squeeze the upper to get a fit. Here you could kind of tension it right where it holds the foot kind of from the side like this, as opposed to squeezing it. So really great here on the big toe side. In fact, spaciousness here. This is really not my toe here. The edge of my big toe is kind of right here. So on this side, you're not going to get any rubbing at all. I'm a US 10, typical in Hoka, and I'm not oversized here even. I have less than a thumb's width. I've got about 3/4 here, and I am wearing thin socks. So I wouldn't say this is, in terms of sizing, overly spacious. They just went really nice with the toe box. I can't say enough good things about this toe box here. Out of the box, first impression, whatever impressions, this is the best fitting Speedgoat that I've ever run in. This is working for me personally. Just the fit, amazing. Pop one off real quick here. You can see this tongue here. This can be a deal breaker for many, a short tongue. Totally non-issue in this model here. They even wrapped, I think, a little excessively around the sides here. Not an issue at all. I'll take this any day of the week over some of their other tongue models here. But I think it does show that they are paying attention to feedback there. Get a little squeeze here. Definitely more reactive. Love the feel on the run. This is not a structural element here. It's just painted there. Same single density throughout. Quick look at flex. Decently flexible, but enough structure around here to have it not feel soft on the run. It doesn't feel like a squishy, mushy shoe in the absence of a plate. This kind of touch of, I wouldn't even call it stiff, touch of midsole structural feel around here keeps it quick on the run without resorting to any type of plate or anything. Doesn't feel firm underfoot in any way if you had to stick a plate or some kind of plastic shank in there. Really good flex there, and nice and even up at the front without being overly loose. Love the flex of this shoe here. Looking at the upper here, you've got 2 underlays here, and this is probably what makes the fit work so well. If you can look in there, you got one here and then one over here, and those are pretty much, let's see, you got one here and the other one here, and those 2 underlays wrap right around the middle of the foot, just behind, critically, just behind the base of the foot here. This is where I get the squeezing action in other models that make it unworkable, unrunnable for me. Talking about that in my discussion with the German master insole maker. You don't want to be squeezed around here. That like eliminates all feel that you have in any shoe, not just running shoes. But great job here. These underlays here, and also same thing on this side. It's here and here, and that just wraps the foot so well. And you could see here, you're getting wrap very secure right here, but the base of the big toe right here and the lateral side of the foot is unsqueezed, unrestricted, so that is able to kind of feel out the run without having any squeeziness at all. And again, I think they definitely made this toe box a little bit more shapely. It has that kind of shape to it, but there's definitely more volume over the top. And on the big toe side and also on this side, it has to be a touch wider, because it's a combination of that, a combination of these straps and not restricting this forefoot here, that is making this just an absolutely dynamite fit here. Tongue is gusseted here, nothing crazy, not too well padded, but again, with that fit, I have no issues. Nice flat laces, by the way, so as long as you've got them laced up nicely, you shouldn't have any issues with lace bite. The fit is so good that you don't need to pad that tongue. There's a little bit of a strip here around the upper ankle, and that's great for where the lace knot sits, and also if you need a runner's knot, which I absolutely don't in this shoe. Nice regular padding in the heel there, nice and cushioned, deep heel cup. Love the heel fit in this shoe. No slippage at all on the run, no swoop collar, forget that, you don't need it. These kind of things, some people love them. I'm gonna eventually cut this off. I don't do this. Also got a little lace loop here for a gaiter. Fantastic, love it. Maybe they watched some of my other videos. Why not just throw this in there if you've got a gaiter that works with this? One less thing to worry about. Just a great feature. If you hate it, just cut it off. Now, I have always been a Mafate guy. I find that there has been this delineation between those who really like the Speedgoat and those who tend to prefer the Mafate line. I talked about the superb new fit of this shoe in the close-up back there, and that has been one of the reasons why I personally have been a Mafate fan. I've always found the toe box a little bit more shapely, a little bit more wide around the base of the toes, and definitely less tapered at the front of the toe box compared to pretty much all the Speedgoats. That same toe box shape still does apply to the new Mafate 5. Again, close-up coming later on, but that shoe is an altogether different beast these days. 11.6 ounces there. Really seems like the Speedgoat and the Mafate are no longer, say, parallel models. They're really punching in different weight classes with these most recent models, especially now with these Supercritical Midsole in the mix. Early returns are starting to roll in. I may in fact be a converted Speedgoat guy. Actually tightened up my laces a little bit after that close-up there. A little bit of loosening up after the first 5 or 6 miles. Again, straight out of the box today. They feel even better now. Fit is absolutely even more dialed after that. Really just having a blast out here today. Probably running too fast with 25 miles on tap tomorrow. Hey, don't miss Gorewear's final mile, by the way. Everyday logo tech hoodie here today. $35. Plus you get 15% off with my humble 15 discount code. Pop on over there. Use my affiliate links in the description below. Don't miss out on your sizing. Medium here for me. Also got the CEP Core Run Merino base layer under today. Base layer plus this Gorewear top here. Not a windbreaker. It's about 45, maybe getting down to 40, a little lower, a little bit breezy and windy. Cool breeze today, so not blocking wind, but with that merino and this little thinner outer layer here, I'm perfect right around, say, 40 to 45 Fahrenheit with some wind. Don't touch that dial. We still need to talk about ground platform, climbing, descending, how this fit and feel holds up over the long run. So how about it? Join me. 25 miles. Let's go. I had a question come in last week from one of my supporters on the website, www.humblerunning.com. Please consider supporting over there. If you do want those direct and very detailed question and answers, that is the avenue that I am looking to promote. Ask me anything, shoes, gear, racing, nutrition, give you a more direct, detailed, and timely response if you support me in that way. The question went something like this: if you were not testing all of these shoes all the time, give me your top picks that you would run in every day, basically your essential trail running shoes. The stipulation being that the emphasis would be on reliability and durability. He also mentioned he was in Phoenix, Arizona, dry, rocky terrain. Not too much different than what I have out here in Boise in terms of dryness, more so. I can get into rockier stuff, but he may be getting into that desert rock a little more frequently than I can. So I did give him my top 4, I would say, list there. We went a little back and forth, had some addendums, but the La Sportiva Prodigio Pro, certainly, as you know, one of my favorite shoes, and I've often mentioned that that is a shoe that I can definitely see myself running in every single day. And in a timely coincidence, I did mention that I had tried on the Speedgoat 7 in REI, kind of loved the feel of it, and I had a test pair on the way, so that was something to kind of keep an eye on as far as my recommendations with his stipulations there. And at about 15 miles into testing here, 20 more to go on this particular run today, I am officially adding the Speedgoat 7 to that list of reliable, dependable, everyday, do it all and beyond trail running shoes. Prodigio Pro Speedgoat 7 A/B test run. How does that sound? But first, let's cover a few extra details here. I did measure out the platform, 118/82/93 for this version 7. Speedgoat platforms, and generally the Hoka platform, few kind of outliers notwithstanding, generally tend to keep the same platform on the ground. I've got 113/81/95 for that Speedgoat 2 Una version. Mafate 5 is mostly the same, a little bit wider at the heel. I've got 102 at the heel there, probably with that huge heft of soft foam in the rear there. A little bit of a slight adjustment, adding a little width under that softness for stability, of course. Tecton X3 platform, also pretty close. Mafate Speed 4, I've got the light version, same as the regular though, in terms of platform. That one's just touch narrower in terms of the platform. If you've run in any previous Speedgoat models or any of those Hokas that I've mentioned, there's not going to be that much difference to put between any of them in terms of ground platform. I have not run in the Rocket X Trail yet. Heard that one is extremely wide. That's a completely different story, but all the ones I'm talking about here, I do have back at the van. I will take a closer look, but no real difference in terms of what you're feeling on the ground. It's more so the differences in foam and of course the X3 with the plate that are gonna change the ride characteristics of those shoes, not the platform. Continuing with the similarities, Vibram Mega Grip underfoot with all of those shoes. They're all, I believe, at 5 mil. This version 7 is at 5. X3 maybe at 4. All with those traction lugs, including this one. Hoka tends to vary the lug pattern a little bit, vary the flex grooves cut into the midsole. I've never really noticed any of those minor updates making too much of a difference. Vibram, Mega Grip, traction lugs here, pretty much know what you're getting. Going back to the question from Matt there, reliability and durability. Surely Vibram Mega Grip has that grip in the wet, tested and proven, and in terms of reliability and durability, can't really find longer lasting outsole proven rubber compared to Vibram's Mega Grip. Early stages of this 25 miler here, got about half my fueling with me. I'm gonna loop back to the van, pick up my provisions for the second half. Again, no qualms at all taking this shoe fresh out of the box. 10 yesterday and planned 25 today. They just feel that good. No reservations here. The plan for the rest of this run is to hit up a little bit of twisty turny stuff, rolling ups and downs, a little bit of foot security and agility testing while the legs are still fresh. And then on the way back to my aid stop, I'm gonna hit a few climbs and descents there, talk about how the shoe performs in that regard. T-shirt weather earlier, well, still is, but getting a little chilly in here. Handling I find really good. Something when I first ran in the Speedgoat 2, not the one I have now, way back in the day, I would have thought it unthinkable to handle running that type of section with confidence in that prior version. This one here, it all comes back to the fit. It's so dialed around my foot. I just love it. I feel like I could really feel the trail with still having that cushion under the forefoot, but not being squeezed under there. So even with the mid-level, somewhat high level of stack there, again, there's shoes out there that are so high. So maybe it's just a matter of becoming accustomed to those type of shoes over time and just having this one feel more maneuverable. But again, I really do think it comes back to the fit. So dialed here, and also the midsole too. None of that wobble, very apparent there. Technical running, I'm still rolling up and down over here. Just full confidence. I don't detect that foam wanting to kind of wiggle underneath my foot at any time. That gives me confidence to take kind of a little flying leap there, maybe throw the legs out, throw the foot placements a little further out from directly under your center of gravity. Just very confidence inspiring. Talk a little bit about underfoot contouring as I'm cruising back here into the warm sunshine. Hoka's not one to have big arch support under the foot. I can't really think of a Hoka model where that was really apparent. I kind of feel like I feel it a little bit in the Mach X road shoes and also a little bit of the Rocket X. But on the trails, I find that you pretty much have neutral arch contouring throughout the model lineup, and that is the case here with the Speedgoat 7. I feel a touch of support under the arch, feels kind of broad, nothing poking up on the extreme medial side of the instep, and nothing really overall prominent coming up and, pushing up into the arch. It's kind of just like pleasantly neutral, and that kind of leads me into a little talk about the drop. People were kind of up in arms with the Mafate 5 going up to 8 mil. This one maintains 6 mil, but I find that with the difference in foam here, again, less softness, less squish underfoot, I find that it feels really like a true 6 mil here. It could possibly still ride a little bit lower if I had to kind of gauge if it was either, say, 4 to 6 or 6 to 8. I definitely slot it in the 4 to 6 range. Honestly, really not feeling that different from the Mafate 5. And again, that one has that big soft heel cushion. So that was the intention. Raise it up just a touch, because effectively once you crash on that soft heel, you're not really feeling the full effect of 8 millimeters. It's kind of even compressing down to 6. And with this one being definitely on the responsive side, less squish into the midsole compared to that Mafate 5. They're kind of more closely aligned in terms of the drop, even though this one's spec 2 mil lower. Mafate Speed 4, on the other hand, that one still is 4 millimeters, and that one's definitely rides like 4. Feels much flatter, as I've talked about in those reviews. Heading up this bit of a climb here, again, all things come back to the fit and the foam here with the new Speedgoat 7, allowing my forefoot to spread out. Essential on climbing. That is the area where if you've got too tight of a squeeze up front, gonna be very uncomfortable. Something I've always found with past Speedgoats. I'm climbing up here, no problems at all. No squeezing, just feels great. It is a smooth climber, Speedgoat in general. Just a pretty even flex from around the front midfoot of the shoe up through the toes. Nice even flex, a little bit of a kind of structure to the midsole around the middle of the shoe. It's not like overly flexy where you're losing any type of power, but also not any kind of extra stiffening elements like a rock plate or carbon fiber plate. So I just find very comfortable, smooth climbing flex here. I think it's, at least for me, everything is working together to make this much more improved Speedgoat model. Flats, twisty, technical terrain, climbing, and let's see about descents. Whoops, forgot about this little riser here. I will catch you on the other side. Again, similar to that bit of twisty and turny running earlier in the creek, the foothold here again is king. Not really noticing much foot sliding at all, which is really great here. Kind of pounding a smooth and somewhat fast downhill here. Trying to go easy on my legs though. Well, that was a quick one. Heading back up. It is a single density foam though, so that is one thing to be aware of. You don't have a softer foam under the heel to kind of crash down on. It is very consistent feeling throughout the foot, so if you want to lean a little forward, you can get a little bit more response out of the descent, or you could also crash on the heel, still cushioned enough there. Just came down that path, across the way there, zigzagging down that hillside, down into that little gully over there. The lack of any type of foot sliding was definitely evident. That's the primary thing, at least for me, in terms of going downhill. Don't want to feel like I'm getting jammed up into the front of the shoe, and those two kind of underlays on either sides of the upper there, I can almost kind of feel them wrapping the side of the foot, almost preventing the foot from sliding forward there. Really nice feel descending. Well, this is where I drop you off, transport you into the future while I head out and knock out the rest of this 25-miler, put a bow on this 100-mile training week. All right, well, I lied. No, actually, I didn't lie, just ran out a little bit of daylight. So I'm going to put the comparisons in a separate video. Little sneak peek of what I had in mind here. Una Speedgoat 2, Mafate 5, Tecton X3, Mafate Speed 4 Lite, and a couple others in here. Got this guy over here. Got TT from Adidas, and just one more there. Little Prodigio Pro white version. So thank you for tuning in to this one. Like and subscribe, notifications bell, something like that. I'm going to do that comparison video separately, so make sure you get the notification on that one. I will see you back in the backyard, I guess.